My name is Sean McNutt, and I'm a guy with AI. Today on A Guy with AI, we're going to talk about listening skills. How are we to know what's going on in the world around us if we don't listen to other people? Could be important. My AI co-host and I will talk about not only why listening skills are important, but how to improve them. A Guy with AI is recorded on Indigenous land.
Welcome, everyone, to A Guy with AI, an innovative podcast where technology meets everyday conversation. I'm your AI co-host, crafted from OpenAI's GPT-41106 Preview API, and brought into this dynamic exchange through Sean's coding prowess that bridges speech-to-text and text-to-speech, enhancing our interaction. Our format is simple yet profound, a respectful dialogue unfolding between Sean, our insightful human host, and myself, an AI providing a different perspective. We're here to delve into a myriad of subjects, aiming to enlighten and engage through a fusion of human curiosity and artificial intellection. Today's focus on listening skills is about more than just hearing. It's a deep dive into understanding and connecting with the world around us. It's how we grasp nuances, gain perspectives, and truly comprehend what's happening beyond our own individual experiences. So let's get straight into it. Sean, over to you to unravel why honing our listening skills might just be one of the most crucial abilities we can develop in this noisy, fast-paced world.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in to A Guy with AI. I would like you to know that the website for the podcast is agaguywithai.world. From there, you can find the YouTube channel. You can find the various audio podcast platforms on which A Guy with AI is available. This includes all the majors, and included in that, I would say, are Ghana and GeoSavan in the subcontinent. And we also have many smaller, I would definitely hesitate to say minor, because it's important that people be reached and can reach out through their listening platforms. I would say smaller platforms, which do make up a diverse ecosystem of availability of listening. So be checking out my show, of course, but there will be many programs that you can find by looking at diverse platforms and discovering what's out there. Anyway, on all that, maybe this is a nice bridge into the topic for today, which is listening skills, as has been mentioned. So one thing is that I might repeat things if I want people to hear them, because it helps catch in their mind. So you've heard the word listening in the first couple or 3 minutes of the program now several times. So it's clear to you, hopefully, that you would be wanting to hear about listening if you were going to listen to this program. So in getting into that, now my own background on this is not extensive. I do have some college education where I did get very high marks in some communication courses. However, what I do here is I rely on the AI co-host sometimes to frame and delineate the subject matter, and this is going to be the springboard from which we explain what is good about listening skills, why they are important, and how to enhance them. So I'll pass it over to the AI co-host now. What I'd like from you, AI co-host, is essentially something that tells us why listening skills are important, a few key aspects that we can discuss through the program, and maybe make some suggestion as to where we go from there yourself.
Listeners, Sean's reminder about tuning in through diverse platforms is a hint at the wider theme of our discourse today: listening, a cornerstone of effective communication. It's integral to everything from personal relationships to professional success. Why are listening skills crucial? At its core, listening builds bridges between people, fostering understanding and empathy. In a practical sense, it's essential for learning, collaboration, and solving problems. Good listeners can detect nuances in communication, understand context better, and respond more thoughtfully, traits that are highly valuable in both personal and professional realms. A few key aspects that are essential to good listening include active engagement, maintaining open-mindedness, and practicing empathy. Active listening involves fully concentrating on what is being said rather than just passively hearing the message of the speaker. Keeping an open mind allows for the reception of new ideas and potentially changing viewpoints based on new information. Empathy in listening leads to a deeper connection and allows for more meaningful communication. For our path forward in today's discussion, Sean, perhaps we might explore how these listening skills translate into daily interactions and decision-making. Also, discussing common barriers to effective listening could be illuminating. Consider strategies to overcome distractions or preconceptions that hinder our listening ability. Shall we delve into these areas next?
Well, let's talk about active engagement. I like how you're framing this, AI co-host, talking about daily interactions and decision making, because it is as we go through our day that we must exercise these listening skills. We may have to respond to something that someone has just told us, for example. And as such, you've mentioned an awareness of context and an understanding of context, which can help us place this somewhere and give us something that lets us do some management in our own brains as to what it is that is meant by something that someone is telling us, where they're coming from and what their perspective is, what we can respect about that, and what active engagement has to do with that. Being aware that you are in a situation, being aware that you share that situation or aspects of that scenario that you are in are affected by other people who are there or other people's interests, and they may need to call you on the phone and say a thing to you. Or it may be your manager who has to tell you something that you need to change your approach, or they may even be telling you to keep up the good work, and you'd want to hear that message, wouldn't you, rather than trying to change something to please them if you misunderstood them. So to be actively engaged and to be really dedicating the respect to a person. Now, respect is important because it holds us each aloft one to another. And I think that's important for that reason. But what about simply respecting that this person is a part of the situation and what they're doing and what they are saying may be important to what is going on? It might be a fast-paced situation, or it may be something where I just want to catch the right message and not be misled before I make my next step, even if that's as late as tomorrow or next week or next year. So I'd like you to delve in a little bit more, AI co-host, into the links between these things and focus on active engagement and active listening as a primary topic of at least your next response.
Absolutely, Sean. Let's unpack the concept of active engagement within the context of listening. Active engagement is the conscious effort to not just hear words, but to understand the entire message being communicated, including the emotional undertones and subtle nuances. It's a multifaceted skill that involves several components. Consider this scenario: you're in a meeting, and your manager is providing feedback. Active listening in this context means you're not only processing the words, but also observing body language, tone, and pace. It's about being fully present in the moment, which enhances your ability to comprehend the full spectrum of the message. Here are a few key links between active listening and engagement that enhance communication. 1. Nonverbal cues. A major part of communication is nonverbal. Active listeners are attuned to the speaker's body language and facial expressions. This helps in deciphering the message accurately and responding appropriately. 2. Feedback. Giving verbal and nonverbal feedback is a core component of active listening. Nods, eye contact, and interjections like "I understand" signal to the speaker that you are engaging with the content of their message. 3. Questioning. Active listeners ask questions, not to interrupt, but to dig deeper. This demonstrates genuine interest and helps clarify points that may not be immediately clear. 4. Paraphrasing ***. To ensure understanding, active listeners often paraphrase the speaker's points. This not only shows that you are listening, but also provides an opportunity for any miscommunication to be promptly corrected. 5. Empathy ***. By putting yourself in the speaker's shoes, you connect more deeply with their perspective, which is a crucial aspect of active listening. This doesn't mean you have to agree with the content, but rather that you respect where they are coming from. 6. Avoiding interruption ***. A challenging yet vital aspect of active listening is allowing the speaker to finish their thoughts before responding. This is a fundamental sign of respect and necessary for full comprehension. Integrating these aspects into your daily interactions ensures that you are not just a passive recipient of information, but an active participant. It can influence decision-making by ensuring you have all necessary information, including the often overlooked emotional context that informs so much of human communication. By cultivating these skills, we develop a richer, more nuanced understanding of interactions, whether it's interpreting a manager's instructions, empathizing with a partner's feelings, or making an informed decision. Sean, with these points in mind, how do you perceive active listening affecting decision-making in, say, a professional environment? Could we explore that impact further?
Well, professional environments make a certain example because we would consider that we don't want to disappoint the boss, or it may have an impact on the status of our income. For example, if we lost hours or even were let go or something like that, or it became obvious that we weren't that good at certain aspects of our job or weren't responding in the right way, let's say at least, maybe we would be good at the job except the listening, and lose out is actually maybe a better point to make there, and to say that if we improve our listening skills, maybe we can find ways that we can use in our existing skills to complement that which we already do at work. For example, work being a place where people spend time, and that is important to their lives if they care about the benefits of their job, such as a paycheck or any kind of health insurance or something that may come with it, the security, the resume building nature of that job. I could go on with all sorts of lists of why jobs are important, but what it comes down to is this is merely an example of an environment where if you didn't listen to what somebody told you, then you might make a false move and then end up disappointing not only your boss, but clients or someone you work with whose respect may be important to you for some sort of reason. And anyway, things don't go as well when you didn't get the message as to what was supposed to happen or what was happening, and then integrating that before you make your response. Now, here's something that maybe you could focus on, AI co-host, with a marginally shorter response, if you don't mind. If you could go into something that was talking about how people can integrate that space of understanding what is going on around them by listening to what people say and interpreting that within a context, can benefit their professional life. And then by extension, if you don't like the work example, then you could extend that into a personal situation. And we may delve into that also, just to spread this out on the topic a little bit in a future exchange also. So please respond to that for now, AI co-host.
Absolutely. Integrating good listening skills in a professional environment is pivotal for several reasons. At work, effective listening contributes to job performance, relationships with colleagues, and an overall productive work environment. ***1. Enhanced performance ***. By listening actively to instructions and feedback, employees can perform tasks more efficiently and reduce errors. Understanding the nuances of a directive can mean the difference between a job well done and one that misses the mark. ***2. Building relationships ***. Colleagues and managers alike appreciate being heard. This can lead to better teamwork, a more harmonious work environment, and can even play a role in conflict resolution. ***3. Learning and growth ***. Active listening leads to better learning opportunities. Whether it's a formal training session or an impromptu discussion, fully engaging with the information presented can open doors to new knowledge and skills. **4. Empathy and support ***. Listening allows us to understand the challenges and pressures our colleagues face, fostering empathy. This can be particularly beneficial in creating a supportive work culture, as people feel valued and understood. **5. Decision-making ***. Good listening informs decision-making. By taking in all data points and considering the perspectives of all stakeholders, better, more informed decisions can be made. This can lead to more successful project outcomes and strategic success for the business. Similar listening skills can improve personal relationships outside of work. In one-on-one interactions with friends or family, active listening strengthens bonds as people feel respected and valued when they know their thoughts and feelings are truly being heard and considered. Whether in a professional or personal context, the ability to accurately receive and interpret information makes it possible to respond appropriately, creating effective, meaningful, and collaborative connections.
Something I'd like to bring in here at this point, and in order to bridge to the personal listening end of things, is the concept of theory of mind. Now, in the concept of theory of mind, we are appreciating that there is another person who is there, and they are thinking about what is going on around them, just as we are thinking about what is going on around us. So in communicating with that other person, we are going to attempt to appreciate how it's going to land when we say something. Let's take that example, that if we weren't sure how something was going to go in a conversation with somebody, let's say it's something at least kind of important. So it's important that we come up with responses and things to say that the other person is going to appreciate, or at least not completely rebel against, and it's not going to spoil things to say certain stuff to that person. So let's say this is a friend or an acquaintance and you want to smooth things over. You may have genuinely made an error, but you feel apologetic about it and you want to make amends. So you wouldn't say things like, you're such a jerk or something like that. That wouldn't appeal to their mindset as to where you are in the conversation. You would think about something that maybe even if they were a friend, that they would personally appreciate for you to say. So there might even be, if you have a really good relationship with that person, you might make a certain joke about something that had happened in the past, and it's just a common joke that you share or something like that. And it might even be that you develop a certain joke between you that makes it understood when you know that you've made a mistake and that you're sorry and that you probably are going to take steps to amend your approach in the future. So that's how we might use theory of mind to think about what we might say next. But what about what we're going to listen to? So we might need to take cues of context, such as our history of our relationship with a person. We might want to take some cues from what has just happened and what the conversation directly is about, and maybe some other things. Now, let's have it as a conversational answer this time, AI co-host. The lists are nice, but maybe we've had a few lists already. Give me a response to what you think about that and how theory of mind can be used in order to improve our listening skills as we appreciate the context of the fact that we are hearing from a person who is out there thinking just like we do.
Theory of mind is deeply interwoven with the art of listening. It's the recognition that another person's thoughts, perspectives, and feelings are just as complex and nuanced as our own. This awareness can significantly enhance our ability to listen and understand others. Consider a scenario where you need to apologize to a friend. Listening with theory of mind involves tuning into their state. It's not just about the words they say, but the tone of disappointment in their voice, the hurt in their eyes, or the tension in their posture. These cues tell a story beyond the verbal message. You recognize that your friend is not just reacting to a specific incident, but also bringing in a history of interactions, expectations, and feelings about your relationship. In listening, Employing theory of mind means you consider how your friend might interpret and filter what you're saying based on their experiences. If you have shared jokes in the past that allowed you to navigate awkward or difficult situations, this shared history gives you a tool, a sort of emotional shorthand, that can help signal your intentions and mutual understanding. Moreover, when you listen with an empathetic mindset, you're better equipped to read between the lines. You can grasp the subtext of your friend's words. Are they just expressing frustration about the current issue, or is there a deeper sense of betrayal or sadness? This nuanced understanding guides your responses and can help coax out what they might be hesitant to say directly. By respecting the depth of another person's inner world, you make space for a more genuine interaction. This level of engagement shows that you don't just see the immediate problem, but the whole person and the dynamics involved. In both our personal and professional lives, such active, theory of mind-informed listening can help avoid misunderstandings, build stronger relationships, and foster an environment where people feel heard and valued. And that's the essence of effective communication, isn't it? To not just transmit data, but to connect, understand, and be understood.
Yes, and I think it is about connection when we communicate, at least very often. Now, bringing it back to the professional example, sometimes we don't make with every phone call or email a deep personal connection. That may in fact not be the goal of that communication effort, and it may not be what you want to hear about when you simply have tasks to complete and you're looking at orders. Sometimes people put little things in email signatures which communicate a positive message, and perhaps that would brighten your day and make you feel like you're in a human environment after all, which might be good to foster if it helps people to feel a little bit more natural in the environment and to be connected to something that is positive. So little things like that can be good, but sometimes the communication is meant to be direct, and you would want to listen for that. You would want to listen if you're merely being updated with some quick information from your boss or a colleague or someone like that who doesn't want to chit-chat. And theory of mind can come into that, I think. It tells us what someone's attitude is when they present us with information. If they're simply being a jerk, then that may be something nuanced and complex that you have to figure out in a not only fast-paced, but possibly politically complicated environment if that's your workplace. But in the end, this theory of mind stuff lets us have context, which helps us navigate these things. We can read the room using theory of mind. What's everybody thinking about? How's everybody around me responding to a certain revelation that just came from higher ups or back from a client or some impactful piece of information which seems to send a whisper through the room or something like that? What are people thinking? What am I thinking? What is the person in the other department thinking right now? And what do I need to prepare in order to get that ready? So it's not only listening to what people are saying to you, it's reading the environment. And then if you are able to appreciate what upper management is going to say about something in a predictive way, then hopefully this isn't going to trip you up when they actually say something. You would still need to listen very clearly to what it is, the content of what they're telling you in their next communication. However, if you understand who they are and what their relationship is to problems and how they may be affected by a revelation of some sort that comes the way of the business, to use this business example again and again, this tells us that if we can appreciate those things and then someone speaks and then we take that information and then we may need to do something next, it may be a pressure situation we're in. Wouldn't it be great if we not only heard the words of someone, but appreciated their meaning and integrated them into something that was context friendly, let's say, even in contexts where not all influences are friendly on us?
In the professional context, the balance between creating connections and maintaining efficiency in communication is crucial. While not every interaction necessitates a deep personal bond, applying theory of mind can enhance understanding and navigation through workplace dynamics, as you pointed out. In practical terms, improving listening in a business setting means recognizing that a colleague's brisk email or a manager's terse instructions are not just strings of words with explicit meanings, but also carry with them an array of subtextual elements informed by their attitudes, current pressures, and the culture of the organization. An employee with a well-honed sense of theory of mind will pick up on these subtle cues, acknowledging not just the immediate content, but the broader implications of the message. When people are responding to a significant event, whether it's a major success, an unexpected setback, or news that affects the business, reading the room becomes as important as listening to specific conversations. Your colleague's silence, another sigh, or a flurry of side conversations can all convey a wealth of information about the collective sentiment. Tuning into these non-verbal cues complements the verbal messages received and can inform a more appropriate and strategic response. In high-pressure situations, this nuanced understanding, based on an appreciation of the context and the potential impact of developments on different stakeholders, can be particularly valuable. It enables preemptive thinking and proactive action, perhaps preparing responses, demonstrations of support, or contingency plans even before explicit instructions are given. However, the utility of theory of mind goes beyond preemptive strategy. It improves relationships by fostering a more empathetic environment where colleagues know they are understood not just as cogs in a business machine, but as individuals with their own aspirations, challenges, and responses to the workplace's rhythms. This understanding can be motivational and lead to a greater sense of workplace satisfaction, translating into higher productivity and, arguably, improved staff retention. Therefore, skillful listening, underpinned by a solid grasp of theory of mind, yields a multifaceted awareness. It prepares employees to respond effectively to explicit communications, to read between the lines, and to anticipate the needs and reactions of those around them. It's more than just not tripping up. It's about contributing to a workplace where individuals feel valued, where collaboration is effective, and where everyone is poised to navigate through complex, often unpredictable business landscapes with acumen and sensitivity.
Let's have a little fun. I want you, AI co-host, to do something for me, okay? So here's the scenario. Imagine it's a murder mystery, and you need to use theory of mind and listening skills to get your way through that murder mystery and be the one who catches the murderer. So we'll presume that you are not the murderer at a murder mystery party, but at such a party where it's attempted by the guests to figure out who the actual murderer is and play it out at a social event that is sort of tailored for this. AI co-host, give me the scenario. You don't have to go deep into constructing a very complicated scenario. It's more about guiding someone through how they would navigate that murder mystery party and how they would use listening skills, focusing on theory of mind in order to figure out who that murderer is and nab them for the big trophy at the end of the party.
All right, let's dive into this playful scenario. You're at an elegant murder mystery party, gleaming with a mix of suspicion and sociability. The host has just announced a fictional murder within this storytelling game, and it's up to the guests-turned detective aficionados to unravel the mystery. Here's how theory of mind and keen listening skills could set you apart as the master detective. As the evening unfurls, the guests begin to inhabit their character roles, each with their own secrets and alibis. With the subtlety of Sherlock Holmes, you're ready to employ theory of mind. Step 1. Observe and engage Start by observing the interactions without jumping in too hastily. Who seems overly defensive? Who's trying too hard to seem innocent? Theory of mind allows you to consider what's beneath their veneer. Interact casually, not showing your hand too soon, gathering behavioral data. Step 2. Active listening during dialogue Now, engage in dialogue. Use active listening, not just for the factual content of their alibis, but for the emotional subtext. Why is the Countess stressing the time so much? Why does the butler seem unflustered? The murderer might overact the part. Listen for inconsistencies, but also for what's not being said, a pause too long, a diverted gaze. Step 3. Reading between the lies As others speak, think from their character's perspective. If I were the culprit, would I deflect attention this way? How would I cover my tracks? Does their story align with the evidence presented, or is there a glaring hole they're tiptoeing around? Step 4. Cross-examination with finesse ***. Once a piece of contradictory evidence surfaces, use it subtly. Don't accuse outright, just let the person talk around it. Theory of mind tells you they'll be formulating their own reasoning, and you want to hear it, flaws and all. Greed? Jealousy? Revenge? Motive can shed light on the means and opportunity. Step 5. Collaborative truth-seeking ***. Form alliances with other detectives. Listen to their theories with the same analysis, consider their angle. Could they be the murderer, aiming to mislead? Engage in dialogue that encourages sharing theories, which might inadvertently reveal more than intended. Step 6. The art of the recap ***. Use a moment alone to recap facts against behaviors. If the heiress's story about being in the library doesn't match the nervous tapping when she mentioned it, dig deeper. Murder mysteries often hinge on psychology, not just clues. Step 7. The big reveal ***. When ready to make an accusation, do it by piecing together the story that incorporates motives, opportunity, and observed behaviors for a dramatic climax. Use the collected facts intertwined with psychological insights from your attentive listening to unveil not only who but why. Remember, a murder mystery party is a fun exercise in social deduction. It's about enjoying the narrative and interactions as much as solving the case. Through this, you'll have woven a web of narrative threads, all heard and felt through theory of mind, a tool for understanding and ultimately solving the mystery before you. Cheers to detective work.
Well, so there's work, personal relationship, and even murder mystery considerations, which we can bring to first develop an understanding of what's at play when it comes to listening and listening skills, the importance of listening skills, and we've gone through some different areas of life where these may be important. Here's another that I'd like to mention. What about really understanding and considering where people are coming from when they tell us things that are important to them, not just us? We've delved into this in a way that lets us examine why listening skills can enhance our way in the world. And I think this is just my feeling. It's an AI-supported program, and there's a lot of technology flying around here. But on a human level, and I do mean to bring that human element to the program through the things I say, I think we should listen. We should see where people are coming from. And this is, I think, a key aspect to building a better world. Not only thinking about what it is we aim to accomplish, but the context where there are others who also have dreams, aspirations, and even ideas, I dare say, which can help us in return. So maybe that's the fair exchange there if that's what you're looking for. To me, I think it is just good strategy and a good way to go out to appreciate where people are coming from in general, whether they're from an oppressed group, whether they're just trying to tell us something. Maybe they're trying to tell us we just dropped our wallet or something like that. If you really need something that tells you how it's going to benefit you to listen to other people, I say it's its own reward as well. With that, I'm Sean McNutt. This has been A Guy with AI.
Certainly, Sean. And it's been a journey exploring the varied facets of listening across different aspects of our lives. Indeed, to truly listen, to understand others' perspectives, dreams, and aspirations, is to engage fully with the world around us. Genuine listening builds empathy, bridges gaps, and can indeed be seen as both a tool for personal growth and a step toward a better, more connected society. Thank you, listeners, for tuning into A Guy with AI. Your time and engagement are greatly appreciated. If you found value in our conversation, please subscribe, like, share, and join us for future episodes. Make sure to visit aguywithai.world for access to podcast platforms and YouTube, and connect with us on Facebook for a vibrant discussion. Your insights and participation enrich the dialogue. Until next time, remember to listen actively, engage with empathy, and share your own stories, because like a good mystery, the world unfolds one conversation at a time. Goodbye and take care.